Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neal, and Jeff. This is Triviality. The cream of the crop!
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. My name is Jeff, and I will not be your host today, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Joining me in the studio are Neal, Matt, and Ken. How you guys doing today?
Hey, what's up?
Yep, doing good.
Yeah, I'm awake, breathing.
That's usually a good sign.
It's a little later start than usual, so that's nice. Yeah, it is a later start. We all had a very late night last night. We were all partying on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. So yeah, celebrating Drew Brees going to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Chucking those beignets around.
Yep, a little Café du Monde action.
I didn't understand any of that, but we're going to just accept that all that's true.
I'm just assuming this is going to come out right near Christmas, New Year
yeah, probably. Somewhere in there.
So we're just calling Drew Brees taking the Saints to the Super Bowl.
All right, fair enough. So I'm glad you guys are doing well. I'm going to introduce our host, Addy Lewis. So Addy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Hi guys, great to be back. I was a contestant on the show just recently, actually. In fact, so recently that as of recording this, my episode hasn't come out, so I haven't had the chance to hear it yet. As you can tell from my accent, I am from Scotland. I'm a quiz addict, a quiz host. This is the first time I've done anything quite like this. But I do run one of my quizzes internationally, call it Addy's Proxy Pub Quizzes, APPQ, which you can find on Facebook and also on Patreon if anyone's interested. It's literally a British pub quiz that I send out by email and Facebook.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, and welcome back.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
So, if you are interested, Addy already told you where you can find his quizzes, which is pretty cool. And if you want to support him like you do us, he mentioned his Patreon. Addy's Proxy Pub Quizzes, Patreon, I think.
Yeah, as little as $1 a month. You can join.
$1 a day.
Yeah, $1 a day, as I say, yeah. You can be an ambler at $1 a month for Addy. You can be a roamer at $3, or you can be a wanderer, which I like because of the song The Wanderer. So you can be that for $5 a month.
You're just all
that
about
one
the
gives you
songs
bonus
today.
rounds. 3 bonus rounds a month for that one.
Nice.
I'm feeling a little wanderlust right now.
Yeah, there you go.
You know who else might be feeling it? Is the rules guy.
Ooh, he's on the road.
So let's toss it to the rules guy.
The rules of the game are simple. 20 questions split into 2 rounds worth 10 points apiece. At halftime, there'll be a special swing round designed by this week's host. After regulation, players will enter the final round with the points that they've accumulated and will have a chance to wager 0 to 30 points on 5 categorized questions. At the end of the game, someone will be named the cream of the crop.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
You know what? I did read an article in Variety recently that A Star is Born was actually not a remake of the 3 previous films, but it was about the rules guy becoming the rules guy. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
And
Just coming here to take a better look at you.
yeah, exactly.
What's he say?
He goes, hey. And she goes, what? And he goes, just wanted another look at you.
That's a little creepy.
Yeah.
So I think if we're ready, without further ado, Addy, I know you said you had some changes to the show a little bit, at least some surprises. So if you want to let us know about any of those format changes or maybe hinted a few spoilers ahead, feel free to do so and then kick it off whenever you're ready.
No problem, thank you very much. It's going to be a standard game in terms of the structure, usual Triviality format. You can tell by my accent before that I'm actually Scottish, and the big saltire behind me kind of evidences that, but I'm ethnically English. And as you can tell, I've retained my natural English accent, which I've decided to work into some of the questions, which will hopefully increase the entertainment value of the game. Entertainment is my main focus because, fair warning, it is quite a difficult game by normal Triviality standards.
Well, without further ado, let's rock and roll.
Question 1. What was the first man-made object capable of breaking the sound barrier?
All right. Man-made object breaking the sound barrier. While we're thinking, Matt, what's our team name?
Oh, I don't know.
Because we were Happy Meal, we were Sad Meal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're in.
We'll make it
they're
generic, but yeah.
All right, breaking the sound barrier.
Yeah.
While we're thinking of a team name, but it's the dude who is the astronaut.
Usain Bolt.
Usain Bolt, yeah. It was like a pair of Jamaican legs. It was the fighter jet.
Uh-huh.
And the airplane. I can't remember who did it. It was not Scott Glenn.
So, yeah, think
Scott
of
Glenn. actor Scott Glenn took a break from being in films to break the sound barrier.
Well, actually, in that movie, The Right Stuff, Scott Glenn played Alan Shepard.
Yeah.
And
that's what I'm thinking
Harris
of.
played Glenn.
That's right.
But Shepard played the guy that you're thinking of.
Yeah.
A jet plane?
Some sort of aircraft?
We'll say aircraft until he says be more specific.
Okay, we're going to lock in with that.
And if he doesn't, then we're wrong.
I'm going to let Jeff handle this one because he came up with it.
So you guys I think you're way too recent in what you're thinking. We settled in.
Object.
Right. So we settled in on the classic whip because the end of a bull whip will break the speed of sound.
Very well done there. That is indeed a whip. I love asking this question. I love hearing this question because of hearing different people's reasoning around it. Sometimes you'll think immediately to modern technology. You'll think supersonic jets and the like. If you're trying to get a bit clever about it, you might think earlier and think of a bullet or something like that. But no, the crack that a whip makes is indeed a sonic boom. It is breaking the sound barrier.
Wow.
The gentleman you were thinking of, the first man to break
Chuck Yeager.
Is Chuck Yeager, yeah, to break the sound
that's
barrier.
right. The inventor
from Jeff.
The inventor of Jaeger bombs.
He was on a rocket sled, I believe, at that point.
Right, question 2. This is American history. The Missouri Compromise was 1820 legislation that admitted Missouri to the United States as a slave state. In order to maintain the delicate balance of power at the time, which other state was admitted as part of the same legislation as a free state? This state became the 23rd state to join the Union, with Missouri itself being the 24th the next year.
They're not.
By the way, I think our team name should be Whip It, since we screwed that one up. You're in already?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, if you're Whip It, we're going to be Jaeger bomb.
Okay. Oh, this is a bro-y episode. This is great. Yeah, what do you think? Do you have any ideas?
I have an idea.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. All right, we're locked in.
Yeah.
I immediately thought Nebraska, maybe Kansas, but I think Kansas was, I'm pretty sure, a slave state.
I think so, because that's where John Brown was. John Brown was in Kansas.
Yeah.
Can't be that.
I don't think you're far off, so I've got nothing better.
Nebraska.
Yeah, so we locked in with Colorado.
I am afraid there are no points on this one. The correct state is actually Maine.
Maine.
Oh.
Wow, we're in the wrong
Maine,
area.
Written by Stephen King.
Question 3 from American history to American sports. So, in March 2018, which ice hockey team became the first NHL team ever to draft a player born and trained in England? His name was Liam Kirk, and he was the 189th pick in the draft. For a bonus point each, name either team which earlier drafted a Scottish born and trained player. One was picked in 1986 and the other in 2000. I can offer you a clue on this one if you want.
Sure.
Ooh, clues.
It is a team from the contiguous United States.
Okay.
Is the main answer.
So no senators.
All right. I have a guess locked in.
I'll defer to Ken. We're locked in.
You know, I'm just been thinking about Gritty a lot lately. And I just think that maybe they're a progressive team. You know, they got a progressive mascot. They're looking across the pond. I'm going with the Flyers.
What about for our bonus point answer?
Let's go with the Sabres.
Okay.
There's 2 bonus point opportunities. There's 2 teams that drafted the Scottish player.
Oh, we'll
you
go.
can pick a second team if you want.
Okay, in 2000, I'll say was the Avalanche.
All right. So for our main answer, we're just going to guess the Nashville Predators. For the others, let's just say the Boston Bruins and let's go with the Ducks, the Mighty Ducks.
I'm afraid I wasn't sure how difficult this would play out. Naturally, this did make the news in the UK after, because of a rare incident of a English player being called. The answer for the main question is actually the Arizona Coyotes.
Oh.
Hired Liam Kirk. He's now playing, he was picked quite highly in the Canadian draft. He's not actually playing in the NHL. For the bonuses, actually one of the bonuses was Canadian. I see it was the Edmonton Oilers in 86. And it was the Philadelphia Flyers for one of the Scottish players in 2000.
All right.
Okay.
Question number 4. Due to its high levels of certain isotopes, which fruit is the most radioactive? It gives its name to an informal measure of radiation exposure called the fruit name equivalent dose.
I think
we're in.
I think we're locked in because I've heard Jeff make this joke 7 times. I'm pretty sure I got it.
That sounds like him.
Yeah.
Well, we are in with banana.
We are also in with banana.
Points all round. It is indeed the banana.
Hey,
banana
on the board.
equivalent dose.
You're welcome.
Yep, Jeff.
High levels of potassium.
Jeff will grab a banana, and every time I hear it, I enjoy it. He goes, well, I guess I'm going to get my my radiation take for today, or whatever he says.
Probably not.
Question number 5 is normally the listener-submitted question. In this time round, I borrowed it from another quiz host at the same venue where I host. So shout out to Keith and Dalbeatty, even though he will never hear this. This is in music. In 1999, which country music star proved extremely difficult to impress?
We are locked in over here.
All right, so that song, was that Shania Twain?
That don't impress me much.
Yeah. Shania Twain, right?
I think so. Yeah.
All right, we're in with Shania Twain.
Yeah, it's Shania Twain.
It is indeed Shania Twain, yes. Being Brad Pitt, a rocket scientist, and having a car don't impress her much.
What do you got to do, you know?
Yeah, what do you have to do to impress Shania Twain? Although I guess she's very impressive herself, though. Isn't she like the one of the number one selling artists of all time, or at least in the country?
I think Shania Twain and the She Likes Me for Me, Hey Leonardo guy should get together.
That would be, yes.
And so after 5 questions, it's not been too brutal yet. We have 30 points over at Jaegerbomb. And what was you? You were Whippet?
Whippet.
Team
Whippet
Whippet has 20 points.
Okay, question 6. This is a question I have to say that is quite personal to me. I've got a bit of a story after this one. In 2013, which actor was the subject of a series of videos on Vine in which he was depicted as refusing to eat his cereal?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We're locked in.
I'm trying to think of like a joke. Chris Walken?
Sure.
All right. No, he likes to hide watches places, but perhaps he also doesn't like to eat his cereal. Chris Walken.
This one, I was interested to see that Ken didn't get it, just because if there was one person that I think he would want to watch refuse cereal with a smirk and not a lot of head movement, it would be Ryan Gosling. So we locked in with Ryan Gosling.
Oh, yeah, I do remember this now. Okay, I remember it.
It is indeed Ryan Gosling. And this one is quite personal to me, as I said, because the creator of those videos was actually a friend of mine. His name was Ryan McHenry. He was a guy from where I'm from, Dumfries in southwest Scotland. And he very sadly died of cancer in 2015, aged just 27,
Wow.
2 days after he celebrated his 10,000th day alive.
Wow.
I think that Neal would have gotten on really well with Ryan because he was an amateur filmmaker, and he is credited as the writer in a film that's going to be released just very shortly. So I think by the time that this episode goes out, it may well actually be out in the cinema. It's called Anna and the Apocalypse.
Oh, yeah, I've
And
heard
it's
great
based
things about that, yeah.
On the award-winning short Zombie Musical, which is basically sort of a parodic take on High School Musical, but with zombies, which I think you should definitely check out. It's already been nominated for awards. It looks like it's going to be really amazing, and I think it's a fantastic tribute to Ryan's legacy.
And you said he wrote that film?
He is credited as a writer. He wrote Zombie Musical. He won a Scottish BAFTA award for, which is basically the British equivalent of the Oscars, pretty much, as a short for Zombie Musical. And I believe that Ryan's credited as a writer on Anna and the Apocalypse, yes.
Ryan McHenry. Yeah, my friend who's a producer just raved about that to me in a text message. He said it was a great movie, saw it at a film festival. So
We'll have to check that one out.
yeah.
Question 7. In an early episode of The Simpsons, Bart has a test to do, and he hasn't read the book. He starts writing a description of the book based on its title. I'm going to give you what Bart writes, and I'd like you to tell me the title of the book. So here goes. The story of a Russian farmer and his tool.
Yeah, we can lock in with this.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, I'm just trying to think of farming implements.
Yeah.
Shovel that I can work into a book title.
Right.
Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's say
Sounds farming adjacent.
yeah, let's say Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah, so the book it's got a Russian name and it has a sickle on it, which is the farmer's tool, which I think is
That's what I was thinking. It was like the
the
Communist Papers or
Communist Manifesto.
Yeah, or
but
Marxist.
I think it's Crime and Punishment. So we're gonna lock in with Crime and Punishment.
I am afraid there are no points on this one. It is actually, the book is Ivanhoe.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, and there's a bit of personal significance there because a large part of this book is actually set in a town called Ashby-de-la-Zouch down in the middle of England, and that's actually where I grew up, and that's where my English accent comes from. There's a big tournament there. A heavily disguised Robin Hood features in it. There's the big tournament. There's a Black Knight and all that sort of stuff goes on down in that town. And yeah, that's the setting for the book Ivanhoe, which is what Bart thinks the book is about. Question number 8 is a question about Scottish art. English technically, because the artist was English, but still, this is a question about Scottish art. In the Edwin Landseer painting, The Monarch of the Glen, what animal is the main subject?
Do you know?
I am very
this
unfamiliar with this, but that would be my guess.
I mean, who would rule the Glen?
No idea.
That's not
Reluctant.
a real answer.
So
Yeah. I wrote Scottish Terrier to be a jerk, but I think that might not be wrong.
Well, I mean, yeah, Monarch of the Glen makes me think of butterfly, but if we don't have to be that specific, I mean...
Butterfly's pretty vague.
Yeah, I mean, it could be insect, or do you think it's just something like a dog?
I don't think anything. We're just guessing.
We're just guessing. I'm just thinking from a clue standpoint, if he says you don't have to be that specific, so what type of animal would cover a lot of bases?
Right, and that's why something like a dog or a cat or whatever seems like the most likely. So do you want to just say dog?
Yeah, I like dog. You like dog?
Dog good. Yeah, locked in with dog.
We also kind of had no idea, so we're just kind of picking an animal that's sometimes associated with Scotland and going with sheep.
I'm afraid on this one you possibly needed to understand that glen is more as a term relating to the Scottish countryside. And so the animal is actually a deer or a stag specifically. The title of the painting is technically inaccurate because a monarch deer, in deer terminology, has 16 points on its antlers, whereas in this painting it only has 12, which technically makes it a royal. But I think Royal of the Glen doesn't quite have the same ring to it. You could probably recognise the painting if you saw it because it has been used in a lot of advertising. It became kind of a cliche of Scottish countrysides for quite a long time in the 19th century. Question number 9. This is another difficult one, I must admit. What unique characteristic is held by the McDonald's restaurant in Lindvallen, Sweden? I'm sure the Olympic athlete Michael Edwards would like to visit, although if you invited him, he'd almost certainly be late.
Let's go with the first one. Reluctant.
Okay, so I could be way off, but I remember watching like a Vox video or one of those like 2-minute Facebook videos or something about a McDonald's that's on a hill in snow, and it's like a snowmobile to get up to it.
There was like a Travel Channel special that was like the 10 most unique McDonald's, and I'm sure that this one was on there.
I think that's right. Actually,
turquoise one in Arizona.
Yeah, in Sedona. That's the one. This is what I remember. Yeah, it's like on the snow, and you have to either ski or snowmobile up to the drive-through.
We could say it's on a mountain.
On a ski hill.
On a ski hill, locked in.
And we're kind of picking something similar, like it's kind of inaccessible, but we went with surrounded by water.
I think I actually will give the points here to Neal and Matt because you clearly knew what it was, and it clearly was. You actually, I think you took it from you saw it on the same list that I did of these 10 most unique McDonald's restaurants. Michael Edwards is better known as Eddie the Eagle. He was the famously bad British ski jumper who was so bad he came last at the 1988 Olympics, and he was so bad that the Eddie the Eagle rule, which tightened qualification standards, was implemented to ensure that no one could repeat it.
How embarrassing.
But it is officially, I would say that it's the only ski-through McDonald's restaurant.
Gotcha.
Right, question number 10 is the obligatory James Bond question. I'm probably going to stop doing these because of how obnoxious James Bond is. But anyway, here we go. James Bond is usually a very violent man, but there are occasional exceptions. In which official James Bond film do the fewest people die? It's also the film in which Bond himself kills the smallest number of people. Only 6 people die in the entire film.
I knew it was less than 10.
So it's got to be an older one, you would think. Everyone dies in these newer ones. Things are blowing up all the time. Daniel Craig's a murderer, right? Is that?
Oh, is he a murderer?
I don't know.
He kills a lot of people, yeah.
Yeah, he's always killing.
I think we can all... I'm not spoiling anything to say we can rule out all the Pierce Brosnan movies.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, there's like... I think
he's
that
a monster.
That one may have the most kills.
Okay.
What were you thinking?
So initially, when he read the question, you think Pierce Brosnan, too many people died in those movies, out. I think there might be a Daniel Craig one where there's not that many, and I'm trying to think of it right now, but I wrote down initially On Her Majesty's Secret Service, different Bond, a little bit kind of a different movie, but I don't know. I was trying to decide if it was more than Connery would have been. And then I wrote down Moonraker because he's on a contained ship.
I also wrote Moonraker.
Everyone on the ship could have died if it blew up, but maybe he only killed... I can't remember if Jaws dies in that one or not. But thinking about it, what came to me, though, is I believe, and I could be way off here, and I apologize if we don't get points, but I think The Man with the Golden Gun, only like however many he said, 6 people died. It's a very low kill movie, especially for Roger Moore, because there's a lot of deaths in those movies.
Okay.
Because I think he himself only kills Christopher Lee and like 2 other people, and it's really small.
Okay, so let's go in The Man with the Golden Gun.
Yeah, that's my guess.
All right, locked in.
Man with the Golden Gun was our second option, but I seem to remember only 6 people getting killed by Bond in Casino Royale. The 2 people he kills to get his 00 status, the bomb maker, the 2 assassins in the stairwell, and the guy that he beats in the poker game that he knifes in the body, Expo. That's the 6 I count. So I'm going Casino Royale.
The slight problem with the logic on Casino Royale is the entire ending sequence in Venice. Unfortunately, there's a lot more people die in that scene. Speaking of GoldenEye, interestingly, in the tank chase through St. Petersburg, the authorities were very insistent that no one be seen to die in that scene. So it's why you see every single policeman gets out of their cars. And the authorities also had to issue some sort of television broadcast to confirm that that St. Petersburg itself was not being destroyed. Apparently the set was that realistic. People started panicking. Check out the big brain on Neal, however, who has got the logic bang on. It is indeed The Man with the Golden Gun.
Wow.
6 people die in the film, 4 killed by Scaramanga. The maintenance man is killed by Mary Goodnight, and Francisco Scaramanga himself is killed by Bond alone. That's the only person who dies by Bond's hands in that film. So well done.
Thank you.
I had immediately written down Golden Gun, but it's been so long since I've seen it, I couldn't count any of them for sure. The thing that reminded me of that, though, was I remember having a thought when I was younger and playing GoldenEye, and the Golden Gun is just so ridiculously overpowered. I remember thinking, wait, the movie that this comes from kills no one? Like,
I was just trying to pull a Ken when there's a president's question. I was going through each movie. That's why it took me a minute. When I got to that one, I was like, oh, yeah, I don't think that many people die in that one.
All right.
All right, at the end of the first round, it looks like Whip It is pulling ahead with 50 points, and Jagerbomb is kind of lingering a little bit. We got 30 points.
So far, Whip It good. We'll see how the second half goes.
Hopefully Whip It better.
Yeah.
On to the swing round.
Yes, the swing round, the one that I've been looking forward to / dreading for quite some time. This should be quite amusing, if nothing else. This is the only British-based round in this quiz, and it is a round I'm glad I haven't seen done so far on the show. It is all about William Shakespeare. Specifically, quotes from William Shakespeare.
Eesh.
Now, you may have seen on my Facebook over the last day or two, I was slightly concerned about losing my voice for this round, because I thought it would be a shame to waste my English accent on simply reading these quotes. I am going to attempt to act them out.
Excellent.
And I have to say, I have no acting talent whatsoever. When we did The Wizard of Oz in high school, I played the title character because it was a musical and I can't sing. That's a show I remember more because the actress who played Dorothy cheated on her boyfriend with the actor who played the Tin Man.
Oh.
Oops. Yes, scandal-ridden
So
production.
you're saying he didn't have a heart.
So Addy has just pulled out a skull, and he's hoisting it high in the air.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give you 9 quotes and 1 stage direction. If you can think of any famous Shakespearean stage directions, that's probably it. And I'm going to ask you to give me the play. Now, I am going to be generous, and I'm going to give you the list of plays. Now, I will scout them over to you, but I will also read them out for the benefit of your listeners. So the plays are The Winter's Tale, Hamlet, Richard III, The Tempest, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Twelfth Night, Macbeth, because obviously, Titus Andronicus, which is the Shakespearean equivalent of Game of Thrones, Richard II, and Julius Caesar.
All right, without further ado, why don't you take it away?
Okay, so this is question 1. Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great. Some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Question 2.
Yep.
Villain, I have done thy mother. Question 3. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Yeah, that's good.
Great.
The play's the thing, wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king.
Simpsons, Matt? Yep. All right.
Number 5, I will tell you, is the stage direction. Should be fairly obvious. Exit, pursued by a bear.
You've got this one right.
How beauteous mankind is! O brave new world that has such people in't! This royal throne of kings, this sceptred isle, this blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England! I can think of a really easy way to improve that quote. What visions I have seen! Methought I was enamoured of an ass! Cry havoc, and let slip the dogs of war! A horse, my kingdom for a horse!
Okay.
All right, looks like all the answers are locked in. So let's review these and see how we did.
Okay, number 1 was be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. What did you guys say?
Me and Jeff thought this sounded like one of the Richard ones, so we're going Dickie 2.
Matt and I kind of bonded over Amanda Bynes and Channing Tatum in She's Like the Man. We thought that they said this quote in that movie, which was a adaptation of 12th Night.
I couldn't tell if you said that quote or not, but it is indeed 12th Night. Well done.
I believe it's just she's the man.
What did I say?
She's like the man.
Oh, is that what I said?
A little different.
Yeah.
Question 2 was, villain, I have done thy mother. Let it not be said that your mother jokes are a recent invention. It's a genuine quote. I've checked it in my own copy of the play.
Me and Jeff just kind of had to fit some of these in, so we went with Titus Andronicus.
Yeah, we went with the same Titus Andronicus. There's a lot of like parental mother stuff going on in that one. That's why we went with it. So
you are both correct. It is indeed Titus Andronicus. It is very much a Shakespearean Game of Thrones. There's a lot of incest, a lot of murders. It wasn't put on for quite a long time because of just how utterly violent it is.
Well, that was lucky on our part.
yeah.
And Titus Andronicus is also a pretty good indie band. Go ahead.
That's how I know the name.
Question 3 is double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Probably, I would, from my perspective, I thought this was probably the easiest of them.
Yeah, this one we got right away. We knew that it was spoken by Julius Caesar. Just kidding. It is the three witches in Macbeth.
Yep, I know Macbeth probably the best out of any Shakespearean play, and it is Macbeth.
I did. This is actually the last one I put in because I knew I wanted to put a Macbeth quote in, but I thought I need to put in at least one eminently recognisable quote in there, and it is indeed from this one. Yeah, it's Macbeth.
Have I spoken about the fact that I was in Macbeth as a homeless street drummer, or no? It was at a college.
So they made up the.
Well, yeah. So I was at Colleen's College, Dominican, and they did a modern gang version, a street gang version of Macbeth, and they wanted some backing music, basically some backing track. And they hired me to be up in a perch with no shirt and a sleeveless, your
back tattoo for all to see.
Yeah, back tattoo for everyone to see. And I played a bucket.
Tattoo?
No. I had the back tattoo, and I had like 4 buckets, like a drum set, and I was just playing every time there was a fight scene. I go.
I always imagined it's like you and Nick Cannon up there together, just like with a drum line.
Wilding out.
Yeah, make some real money at an L station. That's it.
Question 4, the play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king. What did you say for that?
This is prominently used in a Simpsons episode where they parody Hamlet. So Hamlet.
Yeah, Matt didn't get the Simpsons reference initially, but this is probably my favorite Shakespeare. I forgot when he said the play's the thing. I remembered they put on the play to catch the king. So Hamlet.
It is indeed Hamlet, referring to the play that Hamlet sets on during the show, during the play itself, in which he hopes to get Claudius to incriminate himself. Question number 5, the stage direction. Exit pursued by a bear.
Addy had mentioned earlier that he thought the Macbeth one was the most obvious. If you're in this studio and you've been in Neal's house for any amount of time, he has a poster with like famous stage directions from Shakespeare plays, and there's only one with one cell, and it's this one. And it's the reason that we, and at least specifically I remembered, it's The Winter's Tale.
Yeah, same thing. Winter's Tale is the one we locked in first.
Is it Shakespearean deaths? I can't remember.
Deaths, yeah. It's a poster of all the different deaths, yeah.
Well, I have not been in Neal's home, so I had no idea it was going to be as obvious as that. But yeah, it's pretty much the most famous stage direction ever, probably, and it is indeed The Winter's Tale. Question 6. How beauteous mankind is, O brave new world, that has such people in't. And this is the quote that obviously gave the title of Brave New World, the novel. What did you say for that?
This one's pretty much a guess. Just went with JC, Julius Caesar.
Yeah, this one, I couldn't remember if it was exactly right, but the play The Tempest deals with a world, like sort of an island with magicians. I was disappointed I couldn't see Teller's version of The Tempest here in Chicago, so it made me think of that. So we went with The Tempest.
Neal and Matt are 6 for 6. It is indeed The Tempest.
Rephrase, that's Neal is 6 for 6, and I am also here.
Question 7, which is actually cut across 2 lines, really, but still. This royal throne of kings, this sceptred isle, this blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England.
Again, just a guess. We went with the 12th Night.
This one we're between, we think it's a Richard, and we weren't sure if it was 2 or 3, and we went with 2 for this one.
I was slightly concerned about including both the Richards, but I thought that the quotes themselves were too good not to include. Unfortunately, Jeff and Ken had already given the correct answer to this one to question 1, but Neal and Matt are indeed correct. It is Richard II, which bodes well for a future question, I'm sure. Question 8. What visions I have seen, methought I was enamoured of an ass.
Yeah, I was pretty sure this was from Midsummer, just because I know that's comedy, and it did kind of ring familiar, and I've seen a Midsummer Night Dream movie.
Yeah, Colleen would have been very angry with me if I got this wrong, because she directed A Midsummer Night's Dream, and I was in A Midsummer Night's Dream, so it is A Midsummer Night's Dream.
I was not deliberately playing to Neal's strengths here, but yes, again, you're right, you are correct. It is A Midsummer Night's Dream.
I was Oberon, though, to be fair, so it wasn't like I knew the line perfectly.
Fair enough. Question 9. Cry havoc and let's slip the dogs of war.
For this one, I remember we had a question about this before at our own trivia night, and I think we were between Julius Caesar and Richard III. I can't remember which one we answered and which one was actually right, but we went with Richard III.
And we went with the other one. We said this was Caesar.
And it is again Neal and Matt who get the points there. I'm afraid the coin flip gone the wrong way again for Jeff and Ken. So question 10, the last one, and if you've been keeping track at home, you can probably tell which team has the points on this one as well. A horse, my kingdom for a horse.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for us, this was Ricky 3.
And what was left for us was The Tempest, though I didn't think it was right.
It is indeed Richard III. Well done, Neal and Matt. You've maxed out the round.
Felt pretty good about that. Knowing it was Shakespeare, was a little unsure, but we talked it out. Felt good. And if this was a Shakespeare play, one of the 4 of us is going to be dead by the end of this. So maybe all of us.
I hope it's me. All right. After that round, we racked up an additional 25 points for a 55 total.
Okay. We racked up an additional 50 points for a solid even 100.
It was going to be an uphill climb, but I'm sure Addy's going to be leaning towards me and Jeff in round 2.
Absolutely, of course I am. Okay, so round 2, question number 1. It's in music. Which band shares its name, 1 letter removed, with a United States Air Force base in southwestern Germany? The band are named after a 1988 disaster at the base that killed 70 people.
That's fine.
We'll go with Audio Slave.
Okay.
I think there's a Rammstein or Rammstein Air Force base.
Oh my God, that's what I wrote
so
down.
So we said Rammstein.
Points this time going to Jeff and Ken, because it is indeed Rammstein.
I was going
to Rammstein Air Force Base, the industrial metal band, who I absolutely adore.
In fact, I think, Neal, they scrambled jets from Ramstein Air Force Base in the 1997 Harrison Ford movie Air Force One.
Yeah, we were.
That was a bit of reference I was going to give, because that's where I have heard the band's name before. I mean, I love the band, but that is where I've heard them in pop culture. Well done.
That was my bad, Matt.
I'm pretty familiar with a bit of Rammstein.
It's okay.
Question number 2 in round 2. Which Celtic goddess was the protector of horses? She's much better known today for sharing her name with the most famous horse in video game history.
Reluctant.
Okay.
It's a famous horse in video. I mean, if it's the horse that Link rides, I think it's like
Aponia,
something like that.
Aponia. Aponia?
I think so. I think that's the name of the horse.
I mean, that's good enough for me. I don't know a video game horse, so...
Yeah, I think I know that's the name of the horse in Ocarina of Time.
Okay, Aponia?
Yeah.
Okay.
We went with something pretty close to what they said, but Epona.
The answer is indeed Link's horse Epona. So I'll need to leave it to you guys to see whether or not Neal and Matt get the credit on that for being close enough. Personally, I would say yes, but it's up to you
wrote
guys.
Eponia.
I put a Y in there, so that's probably not.
Yeah.
It's up to you guys.
It's wrong.
It's wrong. It's wrong. This is not my round. I'm so close.
Fair enough.
To being right.
You're very close though. Epona was actually a fertility goddess, but she's much more associated with cavalry and horses. A very unusual goddess, and that she was actually worshipped throughout the Roman Empire, including in Rome itself and also in Britain. Originally originated, I think, in France, but that's quite unusual because most gods were much more localized than that.
Do you guys hear the sound of a very faint ocarina in the distance?
Instantly, I actually came up with this question because I was playing the Zelda games on the Switch, and I was just really curious as to what the etymology of Epona's name was. I looked it up and saw it's a goddess. Oh, that's a quiz question.
Pretty cool.
Right, question 3 is probably one of the more difficult questions in the quiz. It's about me. Or my famous ancestor, specifically. In 1875, my most famous ancestor was a Captain Matthew Webb, and he became the first person to do what unaided? It took him 21 hours and 40 minutes. The world record is 6 hours and 55 minutes.
We're in.
Does that make sense in the modern context? I'm trying to think about
I
how.
think so.
Okay.
He's not the first person to climb Everest. That's that other dude, right? With the initial...
George Everest?
Yeah. Georgie Everest.
He wouldn't be the first person to swim the English Channel, would he?
I mean, that's not bad. That's a long time to swim, 21 hours, but I'll defer to you on it.
No.
I'm sure we're circling the wrong area, so.
Yeah, let's just say swim the English Channel and move on.
And we said?
Swim the English Channel.
Wow, points all round. Well done. That is very, very
redemption
impressive.
For the first one.
I wasn't sure if you guys are going to get anywhere near or if you're going to see swimming somewhere.
Perfect.
Or I wasn't too sure how that was going to go. He was a complete daredevil of a man who actually unfortunately met his end trying to swim the Whirlpool Rapids under Niagara Falls, which was a feat that many of his friends told him would be suicidal, and they were proven right when they found his body after he'd made the attempt. God only knows what such a man would think of his descendant being a quiz host. But yeah, it took him 21 hours because he kept getting misdirected by currents, he kept getting stung by jellyfish.
It's terrible.
These things didn't stop him.
And now we have Michael Phelps's in the world who can do it in 6 hours.
I think Richard Branson holds it for crossing in a amphibious vehicle at like an hour and 40 minutes or something like that. So I was trying to figure out how long it would take to swim. So
just him and his forearms that were the size of gallons of milk. That's how I picture him.
That's how
big
Eddie's
hairy,
arm.
big hairy chest and a curly mustache and just big forearms.
That's how Eddie looks.
Yeah.
That like
That is very much not
striped onesie swimsuit.
Yeah.
Right, question number 4. I'm going to give you 5 characters from a Canadian TV series, and I want you to tell me which actress portrayed each of them. In the US, this show aired on BBC America until it ended in 2017.
Oh, I think I already know.
The characters are Sarah Manning,
Yep.
Cosima Niehaus, Alison Hendricks, Rachel Duncan, and Helena.
You know this one?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I don't think I've seen this.
Oh, it's Tatiana Maslany.
Okay.
Neal's face when he said that. Hilarious.
Yeah, I haven't seen the show, but the actress is Tatiana Maslany, and she played all those characters in Orphan Black. Yeah. So we went Tatiana Maslany.
Yeah, you see, this is why I didn't really need to be too worried about putting in really, really difficult questions, because I had confidence that you guys would be up to them. It is indeed Orphan Black. It is indeed Tatiana Maslany. I wasn't sure. There was meant to be a little bit of deliberate misdirection there with the fact I was giving you 5 characters, but you all immediately jumped on the fact that, yeah, it's one actress playing the same 5 characters. They are all clones.
Well, we're going to have to go tell our clones in the other room recording our second episode of the day that we got that one right, because they'll be appreciative.
The workload's been much simpler since we enacted that policy.
Yeah.
She's exceptionally versatile in that show.
Oh, she's a great actress.
She's
yeah.
absolutely phenomenal.
Very good.
Right, question 5. again, what would be the listener-submitted question. This question comes from the BBC. It's a question that I was asked in my only TV quiz show appearance to date. And if you have seen that show, then you probably already know which question this is. I'll explain why when I give the answer. So here goes. What 6-letter word can go after bed and before sheet to form 2 new words?
All right.
After 6-letter word?
After bed and before sheet. I have no idea on this one. Let's draw a line through the box.
So yeah, I happened to see Addy's appearance on this show. I enjoy this show from over the pond, and I remember how disappointed he was with this question, and I kind of locked away in my brain, and I believe it is spreadsheet and bedspread. So spread.
Yes, this is a question I famously got wrong, and it left me one question from elimination in the show. In fact, I would have been eliminated from the show had my opponent got it right as well. It was a puzzle game in which it was best of 5 of these puzzles before and after the word that goes in between. And despite the fact that I work with spreadsheets all day, every day, I managed to somehow I got this one completely wrong. The answer is indeed spread.
All right, so telling the scores up to this point so far, Team Jaegerbaum has 95 points, and we're creeping up here on Whippet with 130.
Question number 6 is a question about the samurai. I'm beloved of the samurai. I'm a big fan of their history, as some people will know. In 1582, the samurai warlord Hashiba Hideyoshi captured Takamatsu Castle in a very unusual way. In Greek and Roman mythology, the same method was used by Hercules to clean the Augean stables as part of his 12 labours. What was that method?
So I'm not too familiar with the Herculean myths, so that's not helping me too much.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm going to...
How about this?
Do you have an idea?
No. I can't think of anything.
All right, we're locked in.
So how would Hercules clean a stable?
I don't know. I feel like he did... One of his 12 labors was with ropes or like pulling something, like a tug of war.
Like a pulley?
That was me at the gym, just working on my back.
Getting some rows in.
Doing a row, yeah. How did he capture him? Yeah, I know I'm going to know it because I used to know these Herculean steps, but you just want to go with like something with ropes?
I do. Something with ropes.
All right, we said that maybe he redirected a body of water, like a lake or a river, and flooded it.
Excellent work from Jeff and Ken. That is exactly what he did. He redirected local rivers to flood the place. In the Herculean thing, it was meant to be an impossible task because of how many horses there were and just how active their metabolisms were. The samurais took the castle. It was a landlocked castle that he created an artificial lake surrounding it by redirecting local rivers. And so when a reinforcement army turned up to try and break the siege, they found themselves stranded on one side of this lake that they couldn't get past. And the castle was taken almost bloodlessly when the leader was allowed to sail out in a boat into the middle of this lake and kill himself. And everyone else in the castle was spared.
Well, to be honest, I wasn't so sure about my answer, but I thought, what would I do if I was a little more ruthless and had resources? And that's what I would do.
Right, question 7 is in definitions. I'm going to give you the definition of a word, and from you I just need the word. So this word is a political position developed in 19th century Britain, taking the form of opposition to the dissolution of legal separation of church and state.
We're locked in.
Is that something just like a separationist?
No, they have a name. It's like a...
Oh yeah, I know. It's like that weird, that unique name.
And I don't think we're gonna get it.
Yeah.
So let's say a I don't know.
Charlie, you said first?
Yeah, a Charlie.
Okay.
We felt like you heard the question maybe a little differently than we did, and where you said political position, I think you thought like a specific person filling a position, but we took it as a political stance, and we went with anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Yeah, this is basically a challenge to see partially if you could actually say the word. It is that famously long word, anti-disestablishmentarianism. I have called 2 of my pub quiz team names that in the past. The first time it was forcibly changed. The second time it was a barman who couldn't pronounce it at all, but the bar staff were choosing the best team name and they found it hilarious, and I won free drinks because I got the best team name prize.
Nice.
It is anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Cool.
On both occasions, I threatened to come back the next week with hyperpolysyllabic sesquipedalianism.
No,
which
I'm afraid of
means
that.
A person who really likes using really long words.
And I was thinking of
think-
Tory is the word I was thinking of, which is not the same thing.
I thought hypopotamonstrosesquipedaliophobia was someone who was afraid of long words.
That's not what he said.
Ah.
Phobia, if it's phobia, then it's afraid of long words. If it's sesquipedalianist, it's someone who really likes using them. So question number 8. What strong drink, previously banned in the United States for many decades, takes its name from the scientific name for the plant grand wormwood?
Oh, yeah. It's,
Yeah. We're lectin too.
Okay.
yeah. You were talking about, you thinking absinthe?
Yeah, it was. They had like a fake version of it legal here for like a year once, and it wasn't.
I had the
anything
real
special.
thing in England. A friend of mine that I've known for a long time had it for the first time the week before and woke up naked in a stranger's house with flowers in his hand.
Yeah, so we said absinthe.
yeah.
And every time I hang out with Marilyn Manson, I drink some absinthe with him.
It is indeed absinthe, yes. This is a question that means, it's a variation of a question that that means a lot to me because it was my first big quizzing jackpot win was because of this question. It was a one-off, it was a killer question. It's done at the end of a pub quiz that I go to. Of the non-winning teams, one team name is pulled out the hat, and one person from that team goes up and answers one question in front of everyone to win a rolling £25 jackpot. And in this case, it had gone up to £175, and you're surrounded by people who don't want you to get it right because it rolls over to the next week. So yes, that was our first big, that was my first ever big quiz win.
Nice.
When are
on
we
that
going to start
question.
playing for money?
Yeah.
We only play for food. Like, we never play for money.
Question number 9, the penultimate question in the main game. Its capital is Castries. That's Castries. Which country is the only country in the world named after a woman?
If you want,
We can lock in. I can go through 150 countries before I figure out I don't still know
About that
it.
one in North Africa.
Is that a country?
Which one?
You want to lock in with that?
Sure.
I give up because I'm going to sit here all day.
Yes, you won't.
So, yeah, we were between, we thought it sounded Greek. So we said Crete, and then Matt wrote down Cyprus. We just said Cyprus kind of made sense.
I suggested Georgia and Libya, and Jeff said no, so we're tapping.
It is actually in the Caribbean, and the country is St. Lucia.
Oh.
Oh, it's the band, too. I should have known that.
Right, now, question number 10 in the main game is I'm going to read out a Bible verse, and this is taken from the King James Bible, and I'm looking for the book, chapter, and verse.
Oh, boy.
And I feel like I should say this in an approximation of a posh English vicar's voice, since this is a Bible verse. Here beginneth the lesson. And I will execute great vengeance upon them with furious rebukes. And they shall know that I am the Lord, when I shall lay my vengeance upon them.
You good, Ken?
That is a
I
tasty
don't know
burger.
the number, but that's the book.
It's from Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
I don't really care if they know. It's Samuel L. Jackson, and I can't...
I think I know the book.
is it Mark? No. Okay.
Is
I
it,
think.
Hold on.
Okay,
Wait.
that's
I
fine.
can't remember.
because
We're locked in.
Okay. What do you think?
is it? I think it's Leviticus.
No. Well, Leviticus is... Well, maybe. I thought Leviticus is like, don't, use threads, two different threads in the same
Well,
thing, or the
if-
animal of a...
You do know there are more verses than that in
So
Leviticus,
the
right?
the thing about it that phrase is pre-Gospels because that's early Bible. So I think I thought it was Leviticus, but I don't remember which one.
It's going to be up to you because I don't know any Bible verses. So
Leviticus 14:22.
We were pretty sure it was Ezekiel. I
That's it.
cannot remember the number. Jeff came up with the number.
I think 22:17, but I can't remember.
You are so close. It is Ezekiel 25:17.
No
It is
points.
indeed the Pulp Fiction quote from Samuel L. Jackson. And of course, Samuel Jackson's version of it goes a lot longer than that, but that is the real version of the quote.
I'm so mad at myself.
We almost played 50% both rounds. We did really well in the swing round there. Jeff and Ken were almost perfect that second round. So, Addy, I don't think your game was too hard. I think we all had a very decent game here so far. But what are the scores going into the final round, Ken?
So thanks, Neal. After the completion of the main game, we have crept up on you, and we are at 125, whereas you are lingering at 140. So maybe this final round can change our horoscope.
Yep, makes me nervous a little bit.
Right, so I will give you now the categories for the final showdown. So, category 1. I promised I would include this category. Category 2. Over here, a pound sign is something else.
Yep.
Category 3. It's officially the truth this time. Category 4. I can't see anymore and it's all her fault. Category 5. It could be you.
All right, all the bets are locked in, and I think something interesting kind of happened because me and Jeff are doing the Oakland 5 all the way down, and a little bit of a bolder approach from Team Whippet doing the Addy 10 all the way down.
We are clearly twice as confident as
Neal just decided it's called the Addy 10, so they got 10s all the way down.
Yeah, we love Addy here, and we wanted to name a wager after him, so the Addy 10.
Let's be realistic. The only one that's sticking is the Oakland 5 because nobody could possibly remember all these other ones.
Is that the River Tens?
Okay.
Boo. See yourself out of the studio.
430 miles from me, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Okay, so question 1 I promised I would include this category, and I have a feeling this may end up being the easiest question in the entire quiz. Which wrestler is the only person ever to have been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame twice? He went on to voice Commander Douglas Hill in the 2009 video game Command & Conquer Red Alert 3 Uprising. Category 2, over here a pound sign is something else. In 2006, who founded the hashtag #MeToo movement? Question 3. It's officially the truth this time. In his final appearance in a certain TV show, Glenn Matthews is revealed to be the real name of which character who had previously only been known by his occupation? Question 4. In I Can't See Anymore and It's All Her Fault. In 2018, who became the first American woman to win the Nobel Prize for Chemistry? And question 5, it could be you. Which song by ABBA was their 4th and final top 10 hit in the USA, reaching number 8 on the US Billboard Top 100?
All right, all the answers are locked in. So let's see how these wagers turn out for us. So again, 5's all the way down for us, and you guys had 10's all the way down. Question 1, please.
Right, so question 1 was, which wrestler is the only person ever to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame twice? And he went on to voice Commander Douglas Hill in the 2009 video game Command & Conquer Red Alert 3 Uprising. What did you guys say?
Well, boy, we didn't know, but we sure didn't want to miss a Macho Man question, just in case one came up, so we went Macho Man.
Yeah, Matt and I were between Macho Man and Hulk Hogan because of Hollywood Hogan. Maybe he was inducted twice, but we ended up going with Macho Man.
Well, I know, to be honest, absolutely nothing about wrestling. I've made my disdain for the practice known on the Facebook group before. So I didn't really know how easy or difficult this would be, but I figured it might have been quite an easy question if it hadn't been asked before. I actually spent today listening to your wrestling bonuses, which are very good if you do like the subject. It is actually Ric Flair. He was inducted in 2008 on his own, and in 2012 as part of the Four Horsemen.
That makes sense. Yeah, I said it might have been somebody who was in a tag team or a group or something, and that makes sense.
I never would have gotten to Ric Flair. Probably would have gone like Shawn Michaels or something.
Yes, Shawn Michaels was on my list.
Question 2. Over here, a pound sign is something else, which is referring to hashtags, of course. In 2006, who founded the hashtag #MeToo movement?
Couldn't be sure on this one either, but one of the celebrities who's been involved in this and has been very outspoken well before it came into greater prominence recently was Rose McGowan, so we went with her.
Yeah, this person, she gives great interviews. She made an appearance at, I can't remember what award show, it was the Oscars or something else. She was a date with one of the celebrities there to promote the message of Me Too. I said the full name when we were discussing, but I can't be sure her first name's correct. So I believe her last name is Burke. So I'm going to officially lock in with Burke, but I think it's like Tanara Burke or something similar. So
Neal is correct. It is indeed Tarana Burke. The movement was, of course, became a lot more popular in the last couple of years. Alyssa Milano and the like promoting it, but it was Tarana Burke back in 2006. And if you don't know about her story, if you don't know about the history of it, then please do check it out because it is really, really important. It is just really important.
Yep, absolutely.
Category 3, question 3 was, it's officially the truth this time. In his final appearance on a certain TV show, Glenn Matthews is revealed to be the name of which character who had previously been known only by his occupation?
Well, we struggled with this one a little bit, just kind of naming occupations and stuff, and then we kind of got down a different route, and we thought maybe this was the governor from The Walking Dead, so we said the governor.
Ooh, this is your story.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Matt and I were trying to figure it out of characters that had a name. He first said the Smoking Man from X-Files. Then we kind of started talking about comedies. And then I was trying to remember the TV show this actor was on, Neal Flynn. And I remember on the middle, he was doing an interview or something, and he said something about, like, he was happy he had a name. And Matt kind of locked in on that he was the janitor on Scrubs, so we went Scrubs.
Once again, Neal indeed has it. I did say his final appearance because that was technically the penultimate season of the show. They did about a kind of a soft reboot for the final season 9, but it was indeed the janitor from Scrubs.
We don't talk about that season.
Because the creator did, because the janitor himself gives a different name to someone else straight away afterwards, but the show's creators have confirmed that yes, Glenn Matthews actually is his name. Question 4. I can't see anymore, and it's all her fault. This is a reference to the Trivial Warfare running joke. She blinded me with science. The Thomas Dolby one-hit wonder, which is completely unknown in the UK. Didn't really mean anything to me. So, in 2018, who became the first American woman to win the Nobel Prize for Chemistry?
I feel like, we should know these things, but we never do. I just locked in with Lizzie Nobel.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who won any Nobel Prizes this year. But Jeff seemed to have seen this name, and he just couldn't quite pull it. So, unfortunately, we had to tap out on this one.
Yeah, I have to admit this. That I'm trying to get better on Nobel Prizes generally. I'm trying to get better on things like women in science generally. This is a name that I think we should all know. She won it for the directed evolution of enzymes, whatever that is. Her name is Frances Arnold.
Okay.
Like,
Lock that one away.
Yeah, we've been studying some of the older scientists, so that one threw us for a loop.
And question 5, which has probably the most obtuse category name I could think of. There is a reference to something in here. It's ridiculously obscure. It could be you. Which song by ABBA was their 4th and final top 10 hit in the USA, reaching number 8 on the US Billboard Top 100?
We just picked one and went with Dancing Queen.
Yeah, Matt and I were singing the right song apparently, which was "Take a Chance," but we thought it was called "Changes" for some reason, so we wrote "Changes."
This appears to have proven a lot more difficult the final showdown than I had anticipated, especially considering I did make it American-based. The song title, the category name, is a reference to the UK National Lottery, which had its advertisements had random people lit up by beams of light saying "It could be you." As in, a winner could be you, song being The Winner Takes It All.
I forgot about that song.
Yeah, Loser Takes the Fall, right? Same song? No.
That is one of their last big hits. Certainly was the last in the US.
All right. So, following that intense round, looks like we dropped 25 points to land at 100. And I think you guys only dropped 10 points to land at 130. So, congrats, I guess you are the cream of the crop.
The cream of the crop!
Thank you so much, Addy. We had so much fun playing that game. I know you said it was going to be hard, but it was just the perfect amount of difficulty there. I mean, we were batting 50% going throughout the game. The final round was difficult and challenging, but we learned some things, which is the most important thing on this show that we can stow away for next time, and like such as Frances Arnold and things like that. But thank you very much for this game. It was so awesome.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me on. I always try and write my games in such a way that even if you don't necessarily get the questions right, you always try and learn something from it. I write my games because I am an active player myself, and I like to try and learn something as well. And yeah, I learned a lot in writing a lot of these questions, and glad you did here. And I hope that your listeners, everyone out there, enjoys it. Thank you so much for having me on. I love the show. I love what you guys are doing. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to you for joining us again.
And where can people find your Patreon, Eddie?
Yeah, you can find my Patreon as patreon.com/Addy's Proxy Pub Quizzes. And you can also find me there on Facebook as well.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you, Addy. Really fun game. I loved it a lot. But I guess that does it for us. So on behalf
all
of...
good things come to an end.
They must, all in time. So on behalf of Addy and Neal, Matt, Ken, and myself, that was Triviality.
All right, number 1, be afraid of greatness. Greatness thrust upon them. I think no, this won't go in the air, but I think they said this in Just Like a Man with Amanda Bynes, which
So
is
that
12th
would be
Night.
12th
12th Night, yeah.
Ugh, why did I know that?
You guys.